It's the North Indian derby that highlights April Fool's Day on the ESPN Cricinfo Matchday T20 coverage as well as the IPL. Kings 11 Punjab in Mohali having won 2 out of their first 3 games, including their first home game just recently against the Mumbai Indians. Delhi have recovered after a nail-biting thriller and a super over that they triumphed with over Kolkata Knight Riders. It sets things up nicely. Both these teams having won 2 out of 3. Two, it's a very interesting choices for captains in R. Ashwin and Shreyas Iyer, and both of whom have had a decent start to this season. Brad Hodge and Ajit Agarkar with me. We've already had the toss go down. We've got Delhi winning it. It's a nice time, Hodgie, to start this, just to get a contest where both teams have started well. That's where they sit on the points table, neck and neck. And I wonder what would decide things in these sorts of contests and how big the toss would be.
Look, the toss is important in Mohali. And look, I think there's a big reason in that, and that's Chris Gale. So Chris Gale, we know, loves to chase and he loves to get out there. You're not quite sure what's a good total. You know that it's a great scoring ground. I mean, it really is. Back-ended, you can get it. But also, if you put a good total on, it's a good ground to defend there with a big pocket. So toss is important. But as Ashwin mentioned, they seem to be in good shape. 2 wins. Both sides, you need to get off to a good start. There's nothing worse than being lingering down the bottom of the table. So, even if you go 2-2, you're still in good shape in this tournament.
Yeah, let's just give you an idea of what's happened in tosses in the tournament so far. And I'll get Ajit's thoughts too, because there's been a seam movement, a seam bowling change in this team. Now, in Mohali, since 2015, the night matches, we're not counting the ones that we've had in the day, 14 matches, win in bat 3 times and win in field. That's 11 times. How's the result gone? The toss clearly suggests that chasing is what you need to do. But that's what's happened. One batting first is actually 10 out of 14.
Yeah, it's an interesting stat. Though, I mean, sometimes that's actually a massive stat. I played in a game where we won batting first.
Right.
But because, the team put up a biggish total, then it was much easier to go and defend it. That's the one worry that you have when you know that it's a good scoring ground, it's a good pitch. There might be a little bit of dew around. You sometimes tend to try and overachieve. Hopefully Kings 11 don't do that. They still try and get to a pass score and then hope their bowlers defend it. It's still a good toss to win. I think, obviously...
Does it look like a pitch where runs could be scored? Lots of runs?
It always is, especially under lights. I mean,
and
sometimes it's a tough fielding ground as well. The square boundaries, I've always found it quite tough to field.
And the lights aren't exactly raised up. Sure. They're quite low. But... look, just on the toss, Kings 11 last year won a few games where they actually posted good totals at the start. And generally when you have a good batting surface, you're not going to get anything lower than 150, 160. So you're actually competitive and you actually have a great day with the bat. 190 wins most games in cricket. So either way, it's I don't think Ashwin will be too displeased with this.
It's one of those grounds where you can run a lot actually. At least the square boundaries are big.
Sure.
So you can, I don't know how much Chris Gale would, but you can. There are 2s on offer.
All right, Mumbai, I look good for a 190, maybe a 200 too, and then sort of started in the middle, which is why they ended still with 170 plus, which is still, you'd think, competitive. Punjab took their time to chase it. Eventually, it was good with Mayank Agarwal's runs and KL Rahul adding the finishing touches. Let's just have a quick look at the teams first, and starting with Delhi, they've made one change. Amit Mishra misses out, and in comes Avesh Khan. This is the sort of tactical change we thought Delhi might be looking to make, Ajit, when it comes to picking either the extra seamer or the spinner. We've seen a bit of Avesh Khan in the IPL, and you like what you've seen of it?
Yeah, tall guy, gets a bit of bounce, some extra pace. They've got some pace in that attack.
Yeah.
I mean, with Chris Morris now, and Ishant Sharma is not part of that 11.
Yeah.
And Rabada obviously is bowling rockets at
Good
the
change
moment.
for you?
So, yeah, good change. I think almost expected change. You don't want too many spinners on that pitch. Chris Gale opening as well, a leg spinner.
Yeah.
They've already got one. Almost an expected change. I'm glad they've made it.
That's a lot of pace you can throw at Chris Gale.
It actually looks like one of the best attacks in the competition.
Fast bowling attacks.
Yeah,
all
well, even with Labachani in there as well. So, look, don't forget that Colin Ingram can toss the arm over well and bowl a couple of little leg spinners. He's not the worst either.
Sure.
So
Hanuma Vihari can roll his arm for some off spin if need be.
Correct. So they've got sort of all bases covered. But as a batting unit, you look at that and go, well, Rabada, Morris, Khan, that's a real tough prospect. And then you got Labachani, who's a real match winner for Delhi. So looks a pretty good unit to be able to contend with this. King's top order.
Yeah, we're just trying to get confirmation of the Punjab playing 11, but we'll stick to Delhi from what we've seen and known of them now. The Lamichhane inclusion, it's added the ideal balance for them for you, Ajit. Just thinking of them not starting with Lamichhane at the start of the season. It was a game, I think they only played the 3 overseas players and then suddenly decided that Lamichhane should be the lead spinner. That's a role that you want him to see in?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
With the way he ended the season. Yeah, okay, they had nothing to lose last season and you can then play freely, but you could see his quality. And to not start with him was a little bit of a blunder. They got away with 1 win in those 2 games. Fortunately, they've got him back and immediate impact with some wickets. So, yeah, you don't want to leave out your match winners or your wicket takers. I mean, we saw we saw RCB yesterday. When you play an attack which is below average, doesn't matter how good your batting is, you're always going to struggle. So you play your best 5 bowlers.
Right. There seems to be some big news coming in from Punjab, and that is that there's no Chris Gayle. There's also no Andrew Tye. So that's 2 massive changes. We're waiting to see if that is due to injury, which we can only assume it is. But Sam Curran is back, and we'll just confirm the other change for you if it is indeed Mujibur Rahman who returns. But there's no Chris Gayle. Injury or it has to be injury, surely. That's a big one.
Well, you'd think, unless it's one of the Kings 11 Punjab mind-boggling exercises where they've worked out that Chris
doesn't happen.
Oh, well, it does. And it may be one of them cases where they've worked out that Chris Gale's not a good matchup for Rabada and Morris and Khan.
Surely not.
But look, I'm telling you, it happens. And it happens in every franchise. But it has to be injury. I mean, the universal boss in the form of his life, and he's 40. You can't leave him out. The other surprise is Andrew Tye there as well. One of the big issues for the bowling is their back end bowling, and they've got to contain the likes of Ingram, Morris, some punt. There's some serious hitters in there. So it's going to be a battle of the back ended 10 overs, I think.
This is huge now. This is huge team news for Punjab. Let's just look at what that team looks like. You'd assume that Mayank Agarwal will bump up and open now with KL Rahul. He's in good form. Mayank Agarwal, Rahul's among the runs too after that game against Mumbai. Sarfaraz Khan and Mandeep Singh form a middle order for the Indian contingent. David Miller and Sam Curran, who played the first game against Rajasthan but didn't get a bat and bowled 4 expensive overs. Hardis Villion keeps his place. Mohammad Shami is the only Indian seamer. And Murugan Ashwin and Mujibur Rahman will now form what is a 3-man spin attack. So slightly different approaches by both teams. I don't mind Mujibur Rahman back, but Haji, how do you assess that with Andrew Tye's exclusion?
Oh, look, it might be form, might be a gut feel, might be slightly tired. You never know. There could be a number of reasons. I think that Villion's come in and done a pretty good job, actually. So, that might be a gut feel from the captain. Mohammad Shami's
Plenty
been
of bowling options.
Plenty of bowling options. There's 3 seamers and 3 gun spinners as well. So, not average spinners. So, like the fact that Mujibur Rahman's back in. But, you look at that lineup and you just feel that without Chris Gayle, it just doesn't have that scariness about it.
Sure.
When the universal boss works out to bat. But Mayank Agarwal is in great form, great touch. The other thing it does, though, is it puts players that have been playing certain roles into different roles. Sarfaraz Khan moves up to 3. Maybe you might see Mandeep Singh come up to number 3 because he's a top order player. Sam Curran, again, only new to the IPL, so that's going to be a tough prospect. And Ashwin at 7. So, look, it's good. It's a good top 5, but looking a little bit thin from then on in.
There are certain teams, and I'm not saying Punjab are a good team or a bad team, it's still very early in the competition, but certain teams, if they make 1 or 2 changes, it seems like the squad depth will reveal, and depending on how much it affects their 11 or, like Haji says, the roles in that 11. We've seen 2 changes now for Punjab, which suggests that there are going to be quite a few differences in the roles played too. Does that tell you something about perhaps the strength of the squad overall?
Yeah, I think I'm quite happy with the look of their bowling.
Okay.
I think Shami is in good form. Villian, is a proper quick, and Sam Curran can provide you a little bit some different. And like Haji said, there are three really good spinners in that. So I don't think the bowling's as affected. The batting clearly. I mean, it's Chris Gayle, not just because it's Chris Gayle and what he's achieved in T20 cricket, but also the form that he's in.
Okay.
And that's always been a worry in recent times with Chris Gayle, whether he can play through the season with an aging body. It's never easy, but that's a big miss.
Okay, how big do you think this miss is? Chris Gayle is not in. I want to see that hard reaction just get over now. There should be no more buttons left for it. Will Punjab miss Gayle is what we're asking you. If you say no, then that's an interesting point of view as well. If you think that they have the resources to manage without Chris Gayle too. But then that automatically puts the onus on Mayank Agarwal. So let's focus on Mayank Agarwal, man of the match in the last game, and played, Haji, perhaps the game-defining innings. And seems the way you start is essentially what tends to define your IPL season. Mayank Agarwal seems to have started very well.
Very well.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm glad the youngsters learned a little bit. Well, he's not even that young anymore, is he? But yeah, I just couldn't quite grasp what his role was and how he was meant to play last year. What I love about him is he's got an opportunity to play for his country, and I think that ticks a big box.
Yeah.
I think for anyone who strives to play for India, Ajit, as you know,
And forced his way in.
yeah,
Got heaps of runs.
Yeah, 2,000 odd runs in Ranji Trophy, did well for India A. So for him, that's a big tick, and it's a bit of a weight off his shoulders. Now he can just go and focus on playing IPL, and it's almost a recognition for the rest of your peers in the group that says, oh, you're a good player. You play for your country, and you just feel that you're in a good space to be able to
Does that tend
achieve
to happen though? You've seen uncapped Indian players, and you see someone who's got, that he's got christened, he's got knighted with international colours, and all of a sudden there's just a nicer sort of, they look up to him, it makes him feel good about his game. That happens?
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no doubt, and it puts you in it puts you an equal amongst all your peers across
Sure.
and the other fact is that he's not in competition for this 50 over competition coming up, which is pretty important soon. Not like his partner KL Rahul, who's fighting for some form. That was a pretty laborious performance the other day. Even though he got the job done in the end, you could see he was mentally...
There's more free spirit for Mayank
Yeah,
Agarwal.
so look, he's in a great space, and I'm glad that he's able to transform those 15s into 50s.
Yeah.
That's important.
I like
They-
that this
they,
is
They
happening.
need those two to play
Sure.
well today. I mean, Mayank obviously has been good form, but with Chris Gayle not playing, there's just that much more pressure on them.
And I like that last season, the IPL, he'd come off the back of heaps of runs in the last domestic season and didn't have a necessarily great IPL. And sometimes if you have a couple of bad IPLs, people tend to forget the sort of form you must have put on in first class cricket. Now he's getting runs in the IPL, or he's at least started well. Deep on the show earlier said that I fancy Mayank Agarwal getting a call up in white ball cricket soon too. Would you see that prospect at some point?
Certainly got the game for it.
Yeah.
Whether it's immediately to the World Cup, who knows? There's still a spot open for the third opener.
Could be a wild card selection.
There is a spot open for the third opener. So, look, he can only do his job, which is to get runs. He's got the game. We've seen had 3 good knocks at crucial times for India in that Test series, having come in. So, good thing you can see the improvement. It's not just about the runs. I mean, there are other guys, okay, maybe not as many runs, but there are lots of guys who get runs through Ranji Trophy.
Sure.
But people like Mayank Agarwal do stand out.
Nothing like getting runs in front of Kagishore Rabada, Chris Morris and Sandeep Lamichhane to keep the selectors excited about whether you can manage at the international level. Let's have a look at some numbers for Mayank Agarwal in IPL 2018. That's what we had for him. These are the ball ranges that he faces, and he strikes quickly early. So that's the sort of point that we're trying to make. And the way he approached the innings, there are roles that you give everyone, and that's what we've got more for you. Now there you go. You got 21 to 30, takes off 30 plus. So
A different player
running.
this year.
Yeah.
Like Haji said before, just the confidence of having played for your country.
Right. So that's Mayank Agarwal, and his role in the team now would be what? Pivotal from what you've seen around?
100%. Just maintain that momentum. Look, it may change fraction now that he's gone to the top, but look, he's more equipped to deal with the pressures of what he was dealing with last year. Look, we had a clear plan for him, and it was the same. Go in there and continue the momentum after KL Rahul and Chris had done some damage.
Sure.
But the problem was they were quick fire 10s, and then if you lose back-to-back wickets in any cricket, you're in trouble. So we tried to give him some instruction to try and go deeper, but he didn't understand what that deeper looked like or how to play. Now it looks like he's grasped it pretty well. And again, it's courage and just the mindset of which he just looks completely at home with his game.
Now, will he have Sandeep Lamichhane to contend with immediately, which is our next match day match point? Where does Sandeep Lamichhane bowl? How does Shreyas Iyer use him? He pointed out that he bowled exceptionally in the power play. There's a temptation, of course, to keep him there, Ajit. The use of the leg spinner. There's just one key spinner now. There's no Akshar Patel in this team either, so heavily pace reliant and one spinner. How would you want to see him used?
Yeah, power play, but not open the bowling. I mean, in my opinion, not on this surface. Not when you've got the pace or Rabada or Morris or even Avish Khan, Harshal Patel's there. So hopefully there's a little bit of movement with the new ball. You want to try and exploit it. If they do get off to a start, Kings 11, then you might want to bring him in. It's a biggish ground, at least on the side, but doesn't help the spin bowlers too much. So, no, I think the pace attack's pretty good. So, you'd want to start with those guys because if they get it right, there's every chance they're going to get a few wickets.
This is where there's that toss-up, right? Do you go with your reading of the pitch, or do you go with what you've seen in the last game and Lamichane and how he's bowled? Let's look at where he's bowled in 2020. Kiraji, maybe that'll give you an indication of where Sandeep likes bowling. The 51 overs in between, over 7 to 15, goes an economy of 6.7, but those are pretty good numbers in the power play. If he's going at 5.4 and getting you 12 wickets,
Yeah.
you wouldn't mind that. Now, what's the toss-up? He bowled well in the power play last time at the Kotla. Would you employ him in the power play here?
Well, the thing is there is you look at the wickets column in the power play. 18 overs, 12 wickets. That's a pretty good return.
Yeah.
So for me, that's worth the punt. An economy of 5.4. I'd only bowl him one, only because I actually think that there's some vulnerability in those overs 7 to 15. And, I think that he's also equally as important through that phase. But for me, if you get into this top order, which the middle to lower order hasn't had much exposure for the Kings yet, I'd be keen to get Lamichane into there. And so one, maybe around the third or fourth over, maybe the fourth or fifth actually. I'd give Rabada at least 2 up front, and also Chris Morris. I mean, these 2 guys are class. They represent their country.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Ingram and Sam Curran in the middle order, maybe you'd want an over or 2 of him against those guys when they do come
Sam
in the middle
Curran,
order.
Miller.
and Miller. Sam Curran and Miller.
Sorry, Miller.
No, fair
Not
point.
Ingram,
Fair
Miller.
point. And
So those
he
guys-
also had Mishra last time, so that's 2 leg spinners. Now there's just the one.
Yeah.
So you'd
Yeah,
want
I
to
mean-
hold and bowl in the middle.
Like I said, I mean, I agree with
Yeah.
Raji. You'd want to get him in the game. Maybe not the first or the second over, but maybe at least 1 over in that power play, depending on what.
Particularly
how
if
it
you took a
evolves.
wicket.
Yeah.
If you took a wicket, straight in there.
Okay. What do you guys think about the first poll that we put out? Chris Gale, will he be missed? Let's have a look. Yep, not as much. 87%. Just 87%.
Who are
of
those
you
13%?
remember. Yeah, though maybe they're just fans of Mayank Agarwal or KL Rahul. They said they'll do it on his own.
No, Delhi fans.
Delhi fans, yeah, they won't miss him. Okay, let's have a look at our next poll. Punjab or Delhi, which way are you going? Start getting your reactions, and we'll see what the result looks like at the end of the show. Right, we're trying to catch our breath after what Prithvi Shaw did the other night in Delhi, and let's try and focus on Prithvi a little more. Ajit Agarkar has seen him from very close quarters. There's a lot of hopes and expectation. In some ways, it was that spot of Prithvi Shaw that eventually was left open, which Mayank Agarwal took. So we'll have both of them in action now on the same night. We've got numbers that of Prithvi Shaw against spin and pace. Let's just have a look at some more numbers as you get busy on the poll too. First 20 balls and after 20 balls against spin. So he strikes at 126 and then at 177. That's the conversation we're trying to have, and there are 3 spinners, of course, for him to contend with. Even there's Mujib, there's Ashwin, and the other Ashwin. No apparent weakness against spin. Does he have a? He's one of those that strikes you as if he sees a spinner, he just wants to hit it.
Yeah, I think he wants to hit every bowler. Really, I don't think that's changing. We saw it in Test cricket. I mean, the couple of tests that he played against the West Indies, we saw that. I'm glad he's got some runs under his belt. I think he's had a tough few months. So got injured in Australia, then couldn't recover in time for the Test series. Came back, didn't have a great few games for Mumbai in the T20 domestic competition. So. And you've got to remember he's still very young. So to get over that score was important. I mean those numbers are really good. What we see is IPL record, but that 99 was important. Just to get some confidence. I don't think he's going to change his game. We saw it even before he got the 99. That as the way he approaches his game.
There were some batsmen used to say this about Sehwag too, right? If he sees a spinner, there's no way you can tell him watch a couple and then he just seems like one of those. If a spinner comes on, he's just going to whack it. And would you want to change that?
I mean, there might be an odd occasion that a spinner comes in early, but otherwise he's usually set.
Yeah.
So you don't hold that against him. If that's your natural sort of game and that's the way you approach it, of course you've got to pick the right ball.
He's got some wily spinners he's going to be up against today, Mujib and Ashwin.
He has, and look, he'll be looking to be aggressive. He has got that Sehwag mould in terms of attacking spin, but when you're up against putting someone up against Sehwag, that's a pretty tall ask. He was one of the best you've ever seen about dismantling a spin attack. How's he going to go about his work? Well, I'd like to see not the sense that Prithvi Shaw needs to step up. I'd like to see Shikhar Dhawan step up actually, who's also a pretty good player of spin. But if you see that vulnerability, it can be early for Prithvi Shaw, whether he's over-aggressive or not. He's just come off 100. It's really hard to back it up, actually. So you need to actually work yourself back into the game.
Yeah.
So, I think this is an instance where, the senior pro just says to the youngster, don't worry about it today, buddy. I've got this sorted. You just bat, I'll go aggressive.
Okay, let's have a look at some more numbers now. Prithvi Shaw against spin, and that KKR game was actually a big game for him. This is numbers in the IPL against spin bowling types, and he takes the off spinner apart. So good luck to Ashwin. He's never been dismissed. It's just a small sample size, and the leg spinner too. He takes him on, but he's dismissed 4 times. So there is Mujib and there is Murugan Ashwin in this team. So you've got 2 options of bowlers that could take the ball away.
I don't think there are too many batsmen in the world at the moment who don't have dismissals against leg spin.
Yeah, sure. So you wouldn't mind that. How many of them strike at 130, 140 is another one. Right, so that's the Prithvi Shaw contest, and that game against KKR gave him a serious load of confidence. Comparison before and after that game would be interesting. So let's have a quick look. Before the Kolkata game and after, and in the Kolkata game, he struck at 205 against the spin, and these are good spinners again. Kuldeep Yadav was up against him, Piyush Chawla too. They didn't have Sunil Narayan that day, but that would give him serious confidence playing even the likes of Mujibur Rahman and R. Ashwin. That's for one of Delhi's key men with the bat. What about Delhi's key men with the ball? We spoke enough of Rabada. Chris Morris is back in that team. That's a more than able partner for Kagiso Rabada, his compatriot. How can Delhi best use him? We've got some numbers to suggest to where Morris ought to bowl. But let's just look at Chris Morris's track record first up. Right, bowling in the IPL, he just tapered off a little bit. He had a lot of injury, Ajit, last season, but we know the quality that Chris Morris possesses. Does he still have that sort of impact and quality for you in 2020?
I hope so. I mean, we've obviously, he's played 1 game since he's back, so I hope so. I mean, clearly he's one of those guys who can be the X factor in any team, whether with the bat or the ball, but particularly with the ball. I mean, I hope they open with him and Rabada. Even if it's 1 over, if he does get a wicket, maybe bowl him another over. I mean, I know Avesh Khan bowled with the new ball last year when he played, but it's worth giving Morris because he's one of those guys who can be really uncomfortable to face at the start. And Punjab with Chris Gayle not playing, if you can prize out Mayank Agarwal and KL Rahul, will be under a lot of pressure. So I hope they open with Rabada and him. But that's space that Brad Hodge might tell you. It's not many batsmen fancy facing first up. Yeah,
lots of Indian batsmen in this too.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
I mean, Morris, I spoke to him on the field when he only played those 4 games last year. He was clearly struggling. There was no chance that he was actually just playing because he was there, he wanted to fight for his team, but he was probably down to about 65%. That's why he had to go home. What I love about Chris Morris is he's fast. Don't forget, he's actually fast with the ball. He's got great ball speed. And like Ajit said, no batsman doesn't want to face that. We want little 130s we can dink around and slog into the field. 150? No. That's lose sleep sort of stuff. So for me, what I also love is that he's going to partner Rabada at the death.
Yeah.
And he's a fantastic death bowler. Yeah. So with no Chris Gayle, Kings 11 Punjab has sort of back-ended their team a little bit. How are they going to dismantle those 2 superstars in the last 4 overs? Will be interesting.
What a great sort of duo to have. Then that allows you to bowl Avesh Khan in more comfortable overs. Bowl Sandeep Lamichan. These are good bowlers too. Yeah. There's no pressure of guarding runs at the death or getting wickets early. It's looking a very potent
That's why
team.
you do what you do in the auction. You pick the right guys. You have enough depth, and which Delhi have. I mean, you look at the squad on paper.
Sure.
They've left Amit Mishra, who's got heaps of IPL wickets.
Yes.
Obviously because of the conditions. So. They've put together a great squad. I mean, Ishant Sharma played the first couple of games. So, I don't think there are too many weaknesses in that squad.
Quick look at Chris Morris's utility with the bat too, and there is something that we've got for you then. Chris Morris is known for a few that he hit off the Gujarat Lions that maybe Brad Hodge might remember.
I do.
Yeah, we'll have a look at some of those numbers. 2016 to 2017, and those numbers have only gotten better. Strikes at 173. We know he can hit the long ball, Ajit, but maybe when there's 2 of 2 to get, it might be a good idea to send him ahead of Hanuma Vihari.
Look, he absolutely pumped the Gujarat Lions at the Feroccia Kotla. Look, I think they made an error last time sending Vihari in. Look, for what I'd like to see him move straight to number 6 with no questions asked. Vihari at 7, and then he gets the bat more than likely with Colin Ingram as well. So, you know, I think having two guys who played together a lot could work.
Okay, there's been a change that Kings 11 have sent in. They've sent Sam Curran out to open the batting. So that's a big call. Let's get a quick reaction on that. Haji, Sam Curran as a left-hander to open the batting.
I think he'd be more nervous than
What he was
about
before?
his ability. Yeah, I mean, look, he's up against Rabada, Morris, Labachani. Good luck. I mean, look, he's a good batter. He's actually probably better batter than
That's
he's
exactly
a bowler.
what we were going to. Yeah, we saw him in the India series and we felt maybe his batting is going to be a stronger school.
Yeah, I think his batting bailed England out more than a few times in that Test series. So, worth taking a chance. I think also protects Mayank Agarwal from facing that first ball. Not
thing
that
is-
he wants to be protected, but
Thing is, he's replacing Gale. And there's a lot to live up to when you're placing the universal boss.
Okay, Fab 4 time. Maybe one of you will pick Sam Curran, right? Let's see how it goes. Let's show you the teams once. Maybe that'll help you pick your top 4. Ajit, would you like to go first? Would Haji like to go first? Who's going to take this?
I'll go first.
All right, Ajit, go for it.
What are we doing? Punjab, is it? Okay, I'm going to go.
Should I just throw the Delhi team for you for all 4?
It could be. Although I'm going to pick Mujib.
Okay, you're going to pick Mujibur Rahman.
That's it.
And that's it from Punjab. And let's go to Delhi.
Unless I don't find anyone.
Give you the Delhi menu. There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to go Shikhar Dhawan today.
Okay.
Shikhar Dhawan, Morris,
All right.
and Lamichhane.
All right. Rabada's up for grabs then, Haji. Prithvi Shaw is.
Yeah, I'll go.
Rishabh Pant is.
I'll go Colin Ingram.
Okay.
He took Labachani, so I'll go Rabada.
All right.
David Miller,
Okay.
and I'll go.
No one's going for Rishabh Pant,
I'll
Prithvi Shaw,
go Murugan Ashwin.
Mayank, Murugan Ashwin.
Why not?
Right. Great.
He
Let's see how
likes
this
his
stands.
Shreyas Gopal and
Murugan
Murugan
Ashwin. Yeah, let's see how this goes in a few hours from now. Delhi or Punjab, which way are you leaning? Quick look at our poll. 62% say Delhi. I can understand that. This is a good-looking Delhi team. They won an important toss. We'll see how this game stands at the end of 10 overs. Many thanks to Brad Hodge and Ajit Agarkar. Get your thoughts, gents, as this game goes on. Join us for our match update at the end of 10 overs, and we'll also see how this innings has gone for our halftime show on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day T20.